It is the greatest show of our modern age. It deserves all of the awards. I don't know what happened. I don't know who did something wrong. As long as you didn't do something Drake-ish, I need you to come back. My dream for everybody in the convention circuit and for us as a community.
But that's how we have to break the generational curse.
I have not seen this much honest writing in a long time. I don't think a lot of people are weird with their fandom. I think a lot of the weird people that are in the fandom are just.
Hey, kings and queens, welcome to another episode of Elevate with E. It's E here, Yuwani Hughes, CEO of Great Gale LLC, dedicated to rewriting the narrative. And this is a podcast aimed at helping you elevate over the limits that life throws at you. And today is no different. Today we are interviewing Room Full of Blerds. How are you feeling today, Queen?
I'm very good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Thank you for reaching out. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My government name is Kira. I won't give you the whole thing. But I am the creator of Room Full of Blerds. That oh my gosh, it has been 2 to 3 years from its inception, and it's been a blast. I love what I do. It's still in its kind of infancy stage, just getting its baby legs steady. And yeah, I really love it. I created Roomful of Blerds because I was in the middle of the pandemic and was noticing that a lot of Black creators, whether it was the internet, songs, artistry, dances, everything, were being taken and used in for other cultures to enjoy and profit from. And so I said, yeah, let's stop that. Let's have less of that. So I decided that I was going to go on a kind of crusade and start to promote lesser known content creators, people that are just starting out, maybe they're a little bit obscure, and give them a platform, or at the very least to start posting them and giving like a timestamp for their creativity to say, okay, no, they really did it first. I found them, they're here. You can find all these people in this particular spot, and took right off from there. Now I've got a podcast. I am a co-host on Blerd's Eye View, and I've got a comic book reading club. So the Blerdom is flourishing in my room, if you will. It's fun. It's good.
Awesome.
It's great.
That is awesome to hear, Kara. I love it, man. Being a blerd is just, it's different, man. It's different. It's the intersectionality between like all the cool nerd stuff, but like with Black people at the center core actually like celebrating instead of just denigrating them, or they died. So now every other ethnicity has a reason to go on a crusade or a journey to get better and stronger. None of that.
Yeah.
So for the people who are watching this and don't know what we're referring to, could you explain to them what is a blerd? Well, you introduced yourself. You already hit the next topic of why you created Room Full of Blerds, but what is a blerd?
A blerd, very, very, I guess TLDR, is a Black nerd. That's
Mhm.
it. That's it. So all of nerddom, if you're a geek, if you're a nerd and you are Black, you is blerd. I feel like describing what a nerd is helps people understand it a little bit more, or at least giving descriptions about being a nerd. You can be a nerd about anime, obviously. You can be a nerd about Star Wars. That is me.
Mhm.
You can be a nerd about football. You could be a nerd about music. You could be a nerd about writing. You can be a nerd about electronics. Being a nerd is just, for me, it's having a hyper focus, love, and curiosity about a particular thing. It doesn't have to necessarily be pop culture. It's literally anything. If you are into light bulbs, filaments, how the light comes together, that is some nerdy type stuff. If
Mhm.
people get a glazed over look in their eyes when you start talking about a particular subject, you might be a nerd. Yeah, that for me is the definition of a nerd. Everybody can be a nerd about anything. It's not this stigma, that the word doesn't have a stigma that it used to have attached to it. It's okay. It's okay to be a nerd. It's especially okay to be a blerd because we put spice on everything.
Exactly. Exactly. As Melissa Kimball had once said, this world is not moved without Black creativity. And I feel that when you add that to just Blerd, that's just what being Blerd is. When we create, when we
Yep.
talk, when we discuss, it's just, even when you think about like the Blerd girl, like Karama Horn. So it's like when we do things and we discuss things, it's just different. Period. So
It's
I cut you off, please continue.
no. There's layers to it. I love Karama. She's like, I want to be her when I grow up more. So yeah, no, she's super blurred. And shout out to her. Karama's awesome.
Exactly. And just we actually had met up at the Schomburg a couple of weeks ago, and we actually
Yeah.
saw her in the line on the way to get Roya Coupe's Yanu, which was awesome. So seeing her in person, all these moments, it's just kings and queens. You have to go outside. You have to go up and meet kings and queens in
Please.
person. It's
It's
just
okay to touch grass.
it
Just
is.
pop a Claritin. You'll be fine. I promise.
There's nothing like the human connection of meeting in person. Like when I met you in person, that was awesome because
Yeah,
we had first time I'd spoken to you, I believe, was on Blerd's Eye View podcast. We were talking about
correct.
BOLDSAGA a couple of months ago. So it's just like keeping in touch, kings and queens. Your network is your net worth. So this one is a bit of a challenge, but what is your favorite Blerd moments? Or you can name the top three, top five, top one, whichever comes to mind. Your favorite Blerd moments.
Blurred moments. Oh my God, I know I had time to think about this and I'm still stuck. The only thing that pops out to me right now is the moment in music that we're having. And to be very specific, it's Meg the Stallion.
Mm,
Her going in on anime, her being a presenter at the Crunchyroll Awards.
mm,
Like who else? Nobody else has done that. Nobody else has been there. That represents Black culture so directly.
mm,
Especially as a woman, I don't know any other
mm.
Black creatives that have been invited to the Crunchyroll anything awards.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, another blurred moments. Oh, everything is going to be very recent. X-Men 97 is having a moment. A whole moment. Blackity black moments throughout the entire series so far. Oh my gosh. I want to say, oh, those are I don't want to hang you up, but those are the two that are just in the forefront of my mind right now. Also, Star Wars is bringing more Black characters into the universe. Riva, her hair, it the things that are it's it says a lot that for me to be hung up on just hair in the science fiction world for Black people as a whole is wild. That is how little we have been getting. And as happy as I am to have it, I'm also super annoyed. I'm also
Mhm.
super annoyed that that is what I have to cling on to. But I'm happy. I'm happy to have it. I say all that to say I'm happy to have it. Ah, okay, that's it. I might think of something later. I might pop up randomly and say, "Oh, wait, one more thing." But those are the three for right now. Oh,
Yeah, no problem. That's totally fine because at the end of the day, being a blerd, it's not just like a one-time thing, it's a lifetime experience. And there's going to be
yeah,
so many. It's almost like what's your favorite day of life? You know? Like it's hard. It's hard, but that's the blessing of being in this community because it's an amazing community. There's so many
yeah.
amazing voices and amazing creatives. What comes to mind when I think of like favorite blerd moments, one of them has got to be seeing the Iano panel at Schomburg. That was transformative. Not that Black Sands and other people haven't done this, like Tuskegee Airs, but like what I love about Iano is Afrofuturism. Like so much of it is based in African culture outside of Egypt. Not that Egypt is bad, but that's That's not all we do. Just like how, for
That's
example,
not the only place we exist.
exactly, just like the Killmonger haircut. Like we have more hairstyles, kings and queens. Like if that's not the only thing, and they tried to run that for years,
It's not just this all day long.
right off to the side. Like like we're not gonna do a repeat of what they did with Gerald and what they happened in 1980s with the flat top. So like no, no, our
80s to the 2000s almost.
uh it's crazy, but that's how they see us, trying to pigeonhole us. That is one. Seeing Kizazi Moto on Disney Plus, which was like black animators and black. Have you seen Kizazi Moto on Disney?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, and I
Oh,
saw Iwaju.
haven't finished that yet.
Dude, but just even the I don't mean to take your moment.
Mhm.
Go.
I was just thinking, Iwaju was up there as well, only because of the fact that I remember when forgot the name of the company, Media, Kugali Media said that they wanted to be bigger than Disney. Then they actually partner with Disney. And then they
Yeah.
make Iwaju. So it's fascinating. That also listening to a Riot Storm, which was Alita Martinez, she was like basically saying if you want to hunt like the big dogs, look at how the big dogs hunt. Like you gotta basically protect your ideas, copyright, trademark before you release anything. Otherwise, people
Mm-hmm.
they will steal it, they will take it, or they will say it's not, it's business, it's not personal, it's opportunistic. That's
Mm.
basically what it is. So that, as well as seeing Tuskegee Airs. I remember I think the first Kickstarter I ever backed was Tuskegee Airs. So like, I remember back in the day, 2016, when I saw, I was like, oh my gosh. And they said that they might get a Cartoon Network deal. I was like, oh, that's fire, man. That is fire. So
Are they still trying to make it?
I think they are, as last that I heard, but the thing I've noticed in Kings and Queens, even when you're watching this, if you're an indie creator, black creator, it's very strange. I've noticed this trend that we as indie creators, blerd creators, we get to our first 4 or 5 chapters, and then we end up working freelance or other projects for other people, and then we
Mm.
don't continue our stories, or
Yeah.
it takes a lot longer. Like I'm looking for the day, God willing, I create a system to help us do that, where we can just be blerd creators and make our own series and just go straight. I'm talking about like the One Piece level of straight. Every 2 to 3 weeks, there's another chapter, another book.
Mm.
We're getting an animation is done. Whenever that happens, I will be the first to let you kings and queens know. And if you stay to the end, I'll tell you a bonus about that. The first steps towards it. But before we get lost in all that sauce, the next thing I want to ask is Comic Cons. What Comic Cons are you planning on attending next?
So first up is going to be BlerdCon.
Mhm.
That is July 12th to the 14th, I believe. Part of New York City in the background. If you can't hear it, I will be shocked. My second con is going to be DreamCon. That's 2 weeks after BlerdCon. I think that's the 25th to the 29th. And then I'm not sure which one I'm going to do because these cons are energy zappers, but I'm either doing New York Comic Con, which I've never broken a streak
Mhm.
at New York Comic Con, and or I might do my very first anime NYC. If you can't tell, I live in New York.
I'm
So one
telling
of
you.
those two, those are my four. I thought I was only going to do two cons this year. I might still only do two, depending on how exhausted I am from the two I have to do back to back in July. Um, whew, yeah, but oh God, Brooklyn Comic Con also. So
Right.
that is my definite third. I have my tickets for for those three so far. New York and anime are up in the air.
No problem, no problem. The cons that I'm interested in going or planning to go to, my goal, well, one of them I'm already signed up for is Blerd Over is having an event. Yes, there we go. Almost forgot. Blerd Over is having their first comic convention. They're having in Birmingham, Alabama. So I'm planning to vendor there. Most of the cons that I'm going to, Kings and Queens, is mostly vendoring. I'm an author. If you don't know, I created BOLDSAGA, Afrofuturism manga
Yes.
series, empowering kings and queens to seize greatness. But on top of that, so Blerd Over's event I plan to go to, vendoring. My goal is to go to DreamCon. I'm waitlisted. God willing, they approve me. If not, I'm going anyway. I have to go. I just have to. And then I want to go to J1Con, which is the number. Have you ever heard of J1Con?
I went last year. I just went
How
last
was it?
year. It was nice. It's a small con.
Mm,
It's in Atlantic City.
mm,
Um, I I really want him to be able to expand that space. I'm not a fan of the space. I'm a fan of the energy that was there. It's any of the Black conventions that you go to, I'm never tense. Like, I'm hyped with my energy at all the cons that I go to, but it's different when I go to NYCC versus when I go to J1 Con.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's this sense of me, I have to be a little bit careful, and I don't know why, because nobody's looking for me.
Mm.
um but with J1, it's very backyard barbecue type of feeling. Like, it's not a holiday, it's not July 4th. It's got that weekend barbecue. We just randomly called the family to come by, and here we are. So it's good, it's fun, it's a lot more, I want to say, intimate,
Mm.
with between all the vendors and the guests that are there, which I liked.
That's nice. I'm gonna have to check them out. The one that we just recently came back from was before the Schomburg, Comics in Color in Boston. Have you ever been?
No.
Oh, Black Comics in Color Festival. Oh, it's literally the Comics in Color
Y'all be
Festival.
traveling.
It's worth it though, because out of all the events physically I've been to, Comics in Color is my favorite. When you go, the vibe is just different. They had like a live Thames Bless was rapping. That was fire. They had a guy playing the violin key, right? And he was doing the boondocks. Like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh, dun, 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 dun. And then they had like a live DJ, and then they remixed all the stars from Black Panther, but he was playing the violin with it too. I was like, what? I didn't know you could do that. And then that's just on the music side. They had panels there. They had amazing vendor. And what I like about their space isn't like a hallway. It's basically a basketball court, like it's an athletic center. So you don't have to like worry about walls and missing a vendor. You can just look around
Oh,
from one edge and see the entire space. So I
that's kind of what J1 Con is, except
yeah.
it's more of a,
Mhm.
ooh, I don't know how to describe it without it. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's basically just an open space. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
Mhm.
It's like a really, really big, it's almost like a warehouse.
Yes.
That's what it's kind of like a loading, almost a loading area, but not a loading area.
Well, as we've always discussed, and just in general for Blerds, for us to get to that next level, we need more funding. We need to get to that level where we have like more premium value offers to have the funds to come in so we can get the bigger venues. Because
Right.
as you said, you want that J1 gets bigger, and I pray that all events get bigger so that we're on like the level as indie creators or just Blerd conventions, like DreamCon level. I've never been to DreamCon, but I've seen it, and it's just like spectacular.
Dude, the picture the from so I who was it? BlerdCon and DreamCon were my first out of town conventions. Like, I actually couldn't just walk up the block and go.
Mhm.
But the pictures from DreamCon the previous year to this, well, the 2 years ago to last year, are wild. It's a whole different level. And actually, us over at Blerd's Eye, we're trying to get all of the Black convention owners to come together and have a sit down and talk. And there's been a few people that are interested and want to do a sit down. But if we really want everybody to figure out what the cheat codes are to make something as big as DreamCon, or even to get on the same level as BlerdCon.
Mhm.
It should not be, we should be further along, especially because we drive the culture so much. Like, things spread like wildfire when we touch it. Oh, did you see, I'm just gonna throw out random anime names. Did you see Fooly Cooly? Did you watch Mashal? Yeah, yo, did you see that beat? That title song is awesome. And then from there you get the artists that we end up attaching ourselves
Mhm.
to whatever artwork somebody has made. Ozzy the Virus, I will sing that boy's
Mhm.
praises until the day I die. um it spreads so fast, it doesn't make sense that we aren't sponsored by people that like when Black people give them money. I'm just gonna say that. Um, we need. Let me know if I'm going on too long.
This is an
I'm
interview
gonna be on the
interviewing
pulpit
you,
for a minute.
Kira. Again, we're interviewing
I
you.
know. I talk a lot. Um, I want. I really, my dream for everybody in the convention circuit and for us as a community is to have Black-owned hotels, Black-owned food vendors, food trucks, businesses, restaurants, um, everything, to be able to make a bubble and then take that bubble everywhere else. If I come down to Atlanta and I'm not at a con, I want to go to Slutty Vegan. You understand? You know what I mean? Like I know that because she's got one up here now. Thank God, food is free. I want to go and try Slutty Vegan when it's not a con. Like I want to see. I want to buy an Ozzy the Virus T-shirt, or I want to try Otaku Noir's mystery box, or just this piece because I saw one person wearing it at the convention, and now that word of mouth has gone to them. This is like the easiest. I'm gonna do sports ball analogy. This is the easiest layup in the history of blackness. This would be so easy. And I don't understand. I'm frustrated. I don't understand why we are not talking to one another. There's no I do not know how we got onto this topic, but I'm happy to be here. Um there's no competition. There's no overlapping of dates yet. There's no well, we want to have this haul and we're right at the block from you, and if you give them that deal, then we're not going to do it because we don't like the way that there's none of that. This is one of the easy things that we could be working together on, and start telling on folks that ain't doing right. If your hotel is telling you that you're going to have to pay X, Y, and Z in order to hold this space, but you've got oh, what is the word? If you've got a non-melanated accomplice telling you, listen, look, I did this deal with them and I had less XYZ at this point in time, you might want to hold out or call them on that, especially when you have conventions that are now safer to make those types of that can reveal those things without taking a penalty. um I really want us, this is there's something in my heart that makes me think that this is a very, very big possibility. We just have to figure out a way around the hurdles, and the people that have the bigger spaces for now are the hurdles. But if we can make, like I said, those Black-owned hotels that have the larger convention halls, if we can give our money to them, they're going to grow and get bigger and expand and go to other places and get more land so we can have bigger conventions and keep that money within the community. I'm done.
I definitely understand you, Kira. And the hardest part is that as Black creators, even indie, on any level really, we have this mentality, as Dr. George C. Fraser mentioned, and it's literally rugged individualism, where we think that if we do it on our own, it's going to work better. And if we work with someone else, then we have like a scarcity mindset where it's like, oh, but if I help you, like you mentioned before, then it's taking away from me. That's a scarcity. That's not an abundance or growth mindset. And that's the problem. But that's how we've been trained, generational trauma, things going down now. This is an interview with you. I didn't think we were going to end up on this topic, but
I
at
know
the end
it
of the day,
here we but
here we are.
it's ingrained. It's what
Hmm.
is it? It's also it's in our,
Genetic.
it's
Mhm.
literally in our DNA to act like this way. We've been trained for hundreds of years to be like, if I let you in,
Mhm.
ooh, they're gonna penalize me. So it's
But that's how we have to break the generational curse. And that's what he
yeah.
mentioned on the other side. When you look at a spider's web, instead of it just being us like dots all over the place, like constellations, like just stars, we need to be like a constellation connected. And that's where he mentioned the African proverb, which literally says, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. So it literally,
Mhm.
the Ethiopian proverb, if we work together collectively, then we can get to the next level. And if we can ask people to join. We can ask them questions. We can ask them for help. But for some people, it may not be advantageous to them. Maybe they don't want to. So then we have to learn the systems and then do it ourselves. Like 19 Keys said, be prosumers, producers and consumers. That's one of the reasons why I like going to an event. So who knows? Maybe you might have Room Full of Blerds Con or BoldCon or whatever. We can make our own events. Who knows? But at the end of the day, once we keep supporting our own and learn from other people, I think that's going to be the next level. And I feel that blurred conventions are great, but I feel sadly in America, it's just a reality. We are 12% of the actual population. So I feel that it is good to have events where we are the center, but to grow bigger, we may have to go beyond and have like not just people of color, but people in general. But what did you say?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I think we already have that. The issue is
Mhm,
that nobody knows that the general
mhm,
population doesn't know that these cons exist.
mhm.
And you also have people that are like, well, it's been labeled as a black con. Am I allowed to go? Did we say you couldn't go? The only
Perception is
requirement
reality.
is to just be chill. If you don't think you're going to be comfortable in these spaces, you can do one of two things. You can not show up and keep that mentality, or you can go or just be a human being. That's it. Those are your two choices. That's entirely, that's not up to us.
Mhm.
Once you figure out that we exist, you can visit. Don't act the fool. That's all. That's the requirement anywhere you go. That's
Exactly.
anywhere you go.
But people always have this thing of perception is reality. So in a person's mind, without thinking, once you hear blurred, you think, not me. Like
Mm,
sometimes people hear like Disney princess movie and they think not me. Like I love watching
mm.
Mulan. Am I a woman that's Asian? No, but I love the story though. I
It's a
watch
good
Hercules.
story.
It is. It really is. I watch Hercules. I can find my. I can go the distance. I love singing that song with my wife. Like that song is fire. Am I Greek or a god? No. But the reality is, it's still a good movie. So I think we need to get to the point better with branding. I think branding and marketing is one of the biggest pitfalls that we have because we do, like you mentioned, which is word of mouth marketing. We do a lot of that. This is one of the
Yes.
reasons why, personally, I feel the anime and manga companies don't have a problem with black people drawing the black Goku and the black Naruto. Why? Because at the end of the day, even if you look at that artist, you're still thinking about Naruto. You're still thinking
Mm-hmm.
about Luffy, which puts those characters at the top of the mind for the other people so they get free marketing. They don't have to pay advertising dollars or pay Facebook ads or Google ads or all that other stuff. So they're getting a better return on investment. I
Mm-hmm.
wish and I pray that we as creators would get to the point where we would see more business minded, not just, hey, let's shout out this person to that person. How can we establish some type of business relationship? Like when Michael B. Jordan had he had the collaboration with Naruto, it was Coach and it was Naruto. They had a collaboration and they had the
Yeah.
jacket. Or when One Piece has the collaboration with Puma, like we need to see like more business. But here's the reality though. Creatives sometimes have like this kind of with business mindedness. And I feel that
Yeah.
we need to like bring the two together. Just like how the Avatar was able to take all the elements, put them together. We need to do
Yeah.
that. Because without the
Yeah.
business side, you'll just be grinding. And as a wise person once said, if you it was Rockefeller, if you can't find a way, or actually Warren Buffett, if you can't find a way to make money while you sleep, you work until you die. We do that too much as creatives. We need to reverse it.
It's hard. It's hard because you're like, it if because it brings us joy, and
Mhm,
it's free. It empties your mind. Like, as somebody, I don't draw, I can't draw a straight line to save my life, but I can imagine somebody that draws is getting all of this noise out of their head. So for them, it's they're they are already getting something out of it. Like, from like, I'm trying to get back into writing, which is hard.
mhm,
um but when I do write, I do feel like I've gotten something out of it. So it's hard for me to say what that is worth, because for me it's priceless. When I get that information down into a page, or I've gotten this thought out, I've been paid with a little bit of freedom, and freedom is priceless.
mhm,
So that's when my friends come in and say, hey, listen, look, I'm gonna just give you some money, and even though you didn't give me a price, I want to give you more, but this is what I got. And
mhm,
you if you have those type of friends, let them give you things, let them
mhm,
trade. Even if it's like, all right, you drew this particular thing for me, let me paint a a doll for you. I'm just making up random things.
mhm,
Some kind of exchange is welcome. I'm very also Star Trek minded, so
mhm,
the whole bartering or trade
mhm.
system
Yeah.
where is how I would prefer to have the world be, because that just, I don't like capitalism.
And at the same time, capitalism has given us so many benefits that I feel that once we learn how to play the game, what did Einstein say? First, you learn the rules of the game, then you learn to play better than everyone else. Because you're getting freedom from releasing your creative content, but here's the problem. People that are opportunistic look at you and be like, hey, you don't have a copyright. Hey, you don't have a trademark. Hey, you don't have like a business around what you're doing, and you've put it online. So this qualifies as what's called public domain. So you don't own it anymore. You've gotten something out of it. You have freedom, but then someone can see it, take it, copyright it, and then they own it. And if you try and use it again, they could sue you for it.
That is okay. That is called protecting your idea. That is not getting paid for your idea, which is
Mhm,
for me separate from capitalism in of
mhm,
itself. If you want to keep your idea protected, that has nothing in my head to do
mhm,
with capitalism. If you don't want somebody else to take it and ruin your baby, let's just say that, then yeah, you gotta put a block around it and protect
mhm,
it. You may not, I can do that. I've got a what is it, trademark, copyright. I got some kind of right thing for a room full of blurs. I may never do anything with it. I may never make a dime.
mhm,
But it's protected. Nobody else is going to touch it. Or if they want to touch it, you can make all checks out too. Dot, 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 dot.
mhm.
Um, and get paid that way. But it's still, it's for me, it's still right now. I am separated from the capitalism aspect of the creative side to things. Um, yeah,
No problem.
I think that made sense.
No, but I totally understand that. The only reason why I ask all these questions is because I see so many creators release their content online and they're so happy to do it. But then, as a person who's a creator, but also a business owner, I always think about like the leverage because there's four levels of value. And too many times as Black creators, I had to pay a millionaire to learn this one. It's Dr. Golden. There's four levels of value. The lowest level is going to be implementation, where a lot of Black creators are. They make all the stuff by hand, right? But then the higher level beyond that is unification, which is like the management. Above that is communication, which is like the Meg the Stallions, people that are creatives, people that are actors, authors, people that are on a higher level. And then the highest level is imagination. We need to climb the stairs, Kira, so that we're
Yeah,
at the top, not the bottom. Because when we're at the
yeah,
bottom, we can make demands as long as we want to, but no one's going to listen. But when you have the
yeah,
voice, when you have the audience, the community, and you have the funds behind of you, that's how you really make changes. And that's how people take you more seriously. Unfortunately, we currently are in a capitalist system, and the alternatives are, well, there are other alternatives out there. Only God knows what will happen when those happen. But for now, I feel that if this is the hand that we're played or we're dealt, we've got to find a way to use it differently
that's
so
it.
that we see
I
bigger events. I would love to see big blurred events where we have Black creators. We got Tuskegee Airs, Ray Comics. We got, Royal Coupe. We got everybody there. And we have more of them. But the funding is the thing. And having the people show up is the thing. It takes time. But I'm sorry, this is your interview.
No,
So,
no, you're making points off of my point, and I will go back to your point and say, I don't I don't not I okay. I would like to learn the game and be exceptional at it. I'm not, as much as I'm against it, I'm not stupid. I'm gonna learn how to play the rules or learn the rules and play the game. Um, I just I hate the game. Like I know I'm supposed to eat vegetables, and I do. Do I enjoy it more than a steak or a milkshake? Absolutely. But I know I have to do that in order to maintain my health or maintain my fiscal strength, I guess if you want to say that, or have any fiscal strength. Um, so yeah, no, learn the game. Absolutely learn the game. Um, and then, flip that table over.
exactly. Exactly. Let's continue where we left off. We're talking about systems, we're talking about blurs, we're talking about capitalism, we're talking about the game. You were in the middle of your point before Zoom interrupted us. What were you saying?
Um, I really and fully am trying to remember. What did I say? I think just
You're
learn to
talking about
play.
milkshakes. You're talking about you don't like the
Oh,
milkshake,
if
but you like.
I yes. So capitalism, as much as I may not like it, I'm in the middle of it. And capitalism to me is Brussels sprouts, even though I want to have a milkshake, whatever form of an economy that would look like. Um, I gotta eat Brussels sprouts right now. What you can't do nothing about it. Either you gotta figure out how to make them taste real good, put some lemon on them, a little Parmesan cheese, make it sexy, so you can get it down. But once you get to where you want to be and in a better position and are prepared to make the switch out of capitalism, then you flip that table.
Exactly, exactly. But first you
Without
need to
messing up everybody else's stuff. Like at least give some people a heads up before you do some wild stuff.
exactly. Exactly. It's going to take time, but I'm grateful because like 20 years ago, I didn't really hear about things like Iwatch. I didn't hear things about like Tuskegee Airs, like the Black Sands anime, or like all the other things that are coming on. Even Knights of Abyss and their crowdfunded anime. There's so
Yeah.
many new creators that are in the blurred space that are making waves that are positive change, not just
Yeah.
negative nonsense. Like I feel that after growing up and seeing like the lack of representation, now we're seeing the reverse of it. We're seeing authentic representation made by
Yes.
creators that want to see us celebrate. We don't have to be like we're better than everybody, but at least like, can you get our hair right, our face right? Like, can you get our words right? As a fan of anime, I get so annoyed when next one itch because I'm getting mad. I get so annoyed when I see how they do black people in manga, like how they have rap in One Piece or like in Naruto. It's just
Naruto. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gonna
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's what's classified kings and queens as whack excellence. It's not authentic. It's just fake.
It's not for I don't like Naruto. I'm not even gonna hold you. I just their representation their representation I'm about to go into something and it might not make folks want to continue listening. However, I don't like the representation of women as a whole. There are no black people in that universe, in my opinion, even though there's technically one. Um, but yeah, the authentic representation is much needed. It's like water in a desert right now. Anything that's positive, anything that gives us layers. We're not just in the hood. We're not just scrapping and scrounging to survive. We're not trying to play snowfall. We're not trying to play power. Like we're not that's not all that we are. Because if that was the case, you know what? Let me not
I
say something
understand.
controversial
It's the same
on
thing when you
here.
look at the new Good Times series. It's like you see, I know exactly where you're going with it. It's like they're trying to like put ideas and representation that is going to hold us back for another generation because that's
Mm.
what they see is going to be entertaining. But I feel
Mm.
that what's better than all of that is to make this stuff yourself because then no one can tell you nothing. It's the same way how are you caught up on One Piece before I say this?
Oh, it's One Piece is a cult. um, that is one of my very long time catchphrases. It is a cult. You can like it. It's fine. I have nothing against you. However, y'all be acting a little funky when somebody says that they're not really that into it, or they say it's mid. Um, but you can go off and say what you're gonna say. You can tell me. I'm okay with
No problem.
spoilers.
I mean, I'm not part of the cultish people. I don't have like meetings with them in the nighttime. I like One Piece
You're
from a story perspective. And
you're fine. You're fine. Like I know you cool.
Mhm.
However, some of your brethren are problematic.
I understand, but that's just anime people in general. They be going hard in these like Facebook groups for like no reason. It's very weird. But my main point is this.
Yes.
It's
Sorry.
like one of Luffy's greatest changes recently happened in this series, and while people are super excited and his sun
Oh,
god
Gear
Luffy and
5.
all that stuff, like yeah, Gear 5, people are super excited, they're happy for it. From a because I'm a creator, I look at it beyond the layers and I'm like, wait a minute. Luffy's supposed to be Japanese, but he's like born in Brazil, right? Okay, there's one. But then like this new power is supposed to be Nika, which is like Nike, but they change it so you can get away with it and they can own it. Okay, I understand that. But then here's the part I don't understand, Kira. why
Mm.
is he called Joy Boy? Like, I have a problem with that because from what I understand, that's an African deity. That's actually a deity that helped Black people get out of slavery. And then you find out that there's Drums of Liberation that gets played when he comes on the scene. And I'm like, but wait a minute. Drums of Liberation is a book by Donsi Ohadike called The Sacred Drums of Liberation. So it's like you have two things that are core to your story that are of African culture, while in your story, you don't have an entire island where Black people are present at all, ruling any lands, actually being majestic or incredible. They're always mocked or ridiculed. If that were the case, and if you really respect Black people like you do to make your central characters based on African culture, why didn't you make Usopp Nika? And if you don't want to do that, then why do you consistently mock Black people?
Well, if we're gonna go there,
Mm.
um, according to the people that make that, um, what is Usopp? Usopp is definitely we
He's
say that
supposed to be Black.
he's supposed to correct. So what were Usopp's main characteristics when we first met him?
A
He was a
liar.
liar. He was a liar.
Mm.
He told stories. He was a coward.
Yeah.
Um, he would rather
Run then
not
fight.
um I'll go one step further. Who were the animals that were holding, oh, what is that girl's name? Oh, it's gonna kill me. Oh, the shark dude. Um,
For Arlong?
yes. Arlong is black, right?
Yeah, when
Like
you
if
watch the
we
live
take,
action, you can tell.
you could tell he's
He's
black.
literally
It's not,
acted by a Black guy.
yeah, yeah. And even on in the cartoon, it's giving it's there are a few it a little bit of a few clues that let you know they're definitely not of European descent. At the very least, they may not be, but they're definitely not of European descent, but they are considered animals.
Mhm.
So I have issues with One Piece from Jump. I think they're trying to do better.
Now,
Um, it's actually, now that I think about it, if Luffy is from Brazil, they might also be alluding to African history in a sense that you had. Let's be real. Columbus wasn't the first person to come all the way over from that part of the world over to the Americas. Let's be real. How did we all get over there aside from slavery? You still had all these black people down in Brazil. So I think they are kind of alluding to that being a thing as to why Luffy might have African ancestry in him in some way, shape, or form with those deities. That is me being very generous, being very generous and hopeful. But yeah, no, I don't rock with the high seas like that. I think it's very their starting points were very problematic for me. So I got past it. I think I'm in like the 300s as far as trying to watch it, and I stopped. I'm like, all right, I got a life to lead. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you. The anime stories that we have been allowed into are not the greatest. The more mainstream anime stuff is not the greatest.
they love to appropriate culture and use our culture for their benefit. And then when you even look at it, even people that go and ABD and other people that analyze One Piece, even though they talk about like the African culture, a lot of
Mhm.
Luffy is based on Journey to the West and Hanuman and East Indian deities. So it's like from like a cultural story aspect, they will use African culture, but from a forward facing like what they look like, even like the smoke around it that's East Indian, like the Neo statues and all these other stuff. So it's like you're using your culture, but you're also using our culture, but you're also mocking our culture. This is why
Mm.
I'm so adamant about educating our people to create our own stories. That's why I made like this book, like 7 steps to create your own manga. So you don't have to just be mocked and ridiculed. You can actually make your own stories. You don't just have to draw the black Gokus or the black Luffys or all this other stuff, give them fades and all that. They didn't really ask you for
Mhm.
that. I mean, it's fun to do, but I would rather see you make your own story and get paid. Because these creators that make these stories, like the creator of One Piece, works all these time and he's sick leave when he's getting better. But the sad part is that you've sold over 500 million copies of your story. Your story's worth 20 billion, but you're not a billionaire. Because you're also just like the black creators, working, 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 but you're not getting paid the same level as your worth provides.
Yeah.
Hey kings and queens, welcome to the holiday sale with Great Gale. I'm Warnie Hughes, author and entrepreneur. Take up to 25% off across our family of products, just click the link below. Enjoy the character creation system, a $97 value for free. Our coaching clients love using it to help create their epic stories. Shop the holiday sale today and get Afrofuturism manga series Bold Saga, a 5-star series about empowering your kings and queens to seize greatness. Join Miss Sego and friends' epic adventure to stop a galactic alien empire by finding an ancient relic left by Anansi Shaka Zulu. Get fantastic coloring books to relax and learn. Please read with me A to Z for your early readers. And you can shop incredible merch with Great Gale Shaflo. Plus, we've got courses, books, and self-publishing coaching to help you become the successful self-published author you've always dreamed of. Just click the link below to shop now. Sale starts at midnight on Black Friday. Happy holidays from all of us at Great Gale, and until next time, keep winning, kings and queens.
It's it is definitely I feel so bad for them because none of these creators have the foresight to think that they are ever going to be as big as they get.
Mhm.
So everybody is still kind of working paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, the executives who are fronting the money sleep and make money, like you said earlier.
Exactly.
It's but those executives are never going to give up the secret. They're never going to give up the secret because then they'd have to share with you.
Mm-hmm. Then you have to
They
take
don't
it.
want. Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
just, that's why I'm so serious about telling kings and queens to seize greatness. It's not gonna come to you. Just like if you want a six pack, the six pack's not gonna knock on your door and be like, "Hi, I'm a six pack." You have to actually work towards it. But again, this is it. We're interviewing you, so let me not get off the topic too deep.
Sorry. Sorry.
What shows are you currently watching?
Oh, brother. Abbott Elementary.
Hmm.
Love her. Quinta, hi. I'm cute. I'm black. I could be a teacher on your show. It's okay. I speak very eloquently and I love the kids, sort of. I am also watching, I just started watching last night, season 2 of Interview with a Vampire, which is surprisingly that first season very African American centric in for that time period. I was very shocked at how well they actually told that story and honest they were. I am also watching animes that I'm watching right now. Demon Slayer, that season just started up again. I am watching something else that I can't think of off the top of my head. What the hell else am I watching? I am watching also Bad Batch. Bad Batch on Disney Plus. And what did I just finish watching? X-Men 97. Yeah, yeah. I'm not into comedies. I need to find some actual good, more good comedies aside from Abbott Elementary. It's hard to find a good comedy lately.
I understand. I definitely do. Comedies that I watch is like New Girl. I don't know if you ever heard of it. New Girl is
I
just
yeah, I heard of it. Is
it's
it still on?
bizarre. Huh?
Is it still on? I thought it ended.
It ended a while ago. I just watched it on repeat because it's like the
Oh,
goofiness and like the ridiculousness of it, it like balances out. I know that there's like the Bernie Mac show, there's In
mhm.
Living Color. It depends. I don't really watch all the latest shows. I kind of like things that I know are going. That's the hardest part of when you make a show or even watch a show. You want something that you know is going to be good. You kind of don't
Yeah.
want to be thrown off a cliff in terms of like, is it actually going to be meaningful? I'm also watching X-Men 97. Did the finale happen or is it happening tomorrow?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I have to see the finale. That's the next topic we're gonna be talking about in 1 second. What else am I
Yes.
currently watching? Still watching One Piece. You know, off and on. I really read One Piece. I only watch the fights. That's the secret to getting through One Piece. I watch the fights. Um, and yeah, I'm not gonna watch 1,000 episodes straight. I got things to do. Like, what else am I watching? Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? That anime with the kid with the white hair. They're on season 4. That show is surprisingly good.
Um,
Surprisingly.
I feel like, oh, what else? I'm watching, I got reincarnated as a slime, which I was,
Yes.
and Mashal. I just started watching those two animes, which I did not expect to be obsessed. I'm a little obsessed with those shows. Oh, and Dr. Stone. I restarted Dr. Stone. Um, I fell off and then I had to get back on. So I'm just at the electricity phase of Dr. Stone, where they're just getting electricity going again officially. That I think is I'm trying to look around my room like I'm like there's something that's going to give me a clue as to what I'm actually watching. And to give myself more depth, but that's it. I don't like reality shows. You're never gonna find me watching a reality show. Can't do it. It lowers my IQ.
Yeah. A lot of it is staged. I'm trying to find in the show where I can see the writer. I'm just gonna like, there he is. But
Yeah,
until
a
then, what do
creative
you think?
creative director.
Exactly, one of them. Just like in the TV show, Once Upon a Time, when they found the writer in the show. That was funny.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
funny.
good.
What do you think of X-Men 97?
It is the greatest show of our modern age. It deserves all of the awards. Bo DeMayo, I don't know what happened. I don't know who did something wrong. As long as you didn't do something Drake-ish, I need you to come back. I need you to come back. Please come back. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if somebody was wildly disrespectful, but that man can write. I have never been so, it has been years since I have been hooked on week to week TV the way that I am. I will wake up at 3 a.m. to sit down and watch it in a haze. I'm completely asleep and then wake up and rewatch it again. I have not had that kind of drive to see something. I want to say since Game of Thrones, but even then I wasn't waking up at the crack of dawn to watch it. But yeah, X-Men 97 is it is the writing that I have been looking for the last, I want to say, almost 15 years.
Mhm.
And that seems like a lot, that seems exorbitant, but I have not seen this much honest writing in a long time. It's very honest. There's a couple of moments where I'm like, that's not what you could have said more than that, but I'm gonna let you live
Mhm.
because we 9 episodes in, it's fine. But that's very far and few in between. Oh, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. Ugh, people need to. He needs to teach a class. He needs to teach a class. We need more people with his mindset and dedication to the core material that is available to you, and not just saying, oh, well, we're going to throw this out and we're going to do our own thing. Nobody's asking for that. Nobody's asking for that. Sometimes it's okay to cut and paste. Sometimes it's okay to condense something as long as it works well together and you have a cohesive flow to it. It's okay. Nobody's asking for you to God. I don't even to make a purple apocalypse. I don't even that doesn't have anything to do with writing, but that still bothers me to this day. Oh God, yeah. He's it's great. It is great writing. Mm. Ah,
I'm telling you. The reason why I asked that is because I remember watching X-Men back in the day when I was a kid. I mean, who hasn't seen X-Men 92? That's all you have to hear. And you already know it's about to go out. It's off and popping. I love the
go
fact that
back.
they even had the parallel between Jubilee running in the mall and then her and Roberto running in the mall again in 97. And the Sentinels are both after them, that callback. It
Yeah.
is amazing. But from what I heard you mention, paying attention to the source material. So what you're saying is that X-Men 97, what happened in it is what happened in the comics, are close enough, correct?
Very, very, very close. Very close. I initially was a little annoyed at how fast everything was moving. I'm still a little bit annoyed, to be honest, but not so much where I'm gonna hold on to anything. But the way that they've condensed it to get to the point that they're at, I'm I'm learning to be okay with the pace of the show. They basically took what, 4 Storms arc? If you haven't seen this show yet and you're here, I guess spoiler alert, but you should be on it. The length of time that it took from when Storm lost her powers to where she regained them took 4 years. 4 years of her not having any powers. And they cut it down to 2 episodes of her not having powers. So I there are things that happened in that story arc which I would have killed to see, like her whipping Cyclops' behind in order to get control of the X-Men, which I think might still happen. But I really I'm still okay with where we're at, because I feel like they're leaping over 20 years of X-Men lore and history in order to bring us into the present, because the present comics, fire. Hot fire right now. It is a god, between the Hellfire galas, the X-Men Red, and they're about to not reboot, but basically kind of end the series so they can pick up and move forward with the characters that they do have. I'm excited. I'm okay with the jump that we've taken.
I love to hear it. And the reason why I asked that question is because I think of that answer is what many people can learn from a pre-built franchises. Like when you make comics, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're just starting your own book series, when you have an animated series that closely follows what happens in your books, you have a better turnout. It's one of the reasons why anime flourishes so well, because you'll watch episode like 1104 of One Piece and know that that's what happened in chapter maybe 1084 or whatever. So it's not weird to have what happened in your books happen in your animated series. You don't have to do like what Marvel has recently done and many other companies where they go on tangents. Like no one asks for that. You're making tangents for people who are not your dream customers, not your core audience. Without your dream customers or your core audience, your business, your books, none of that is going to flourish. So give the people what they asked for and what you already wrote. Is one of the reasons why I honestly feel like The Last Avatar, the new TV show, fails versus the animated series. Like, if you put them together and you realize it's like the parallels are too far. Like, there's not enough close. Whereas when you watch X-Men 97, I'm like, oh my gosh. I watched it. Me and my wife watched it this weekend past. I was like, oh my, this thing feel like an anime. Not only is it animated by Studio Mer, the people behind of Korra, and what do you call it again? Voltron, Legendary Defender, and other series, but like the writing, story, the animation. I saw the impact frames. Like, it was real. Like, it was like when people were actually dying. I don't want to ruin it for nobody, but like the death, the seriousness, the family, love, you can actually see like human touch to it. Like, it felt real. I can't wait for the finale. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not trying to ruin it for nobody. I'm not trying to ruin it for nobody.
Don't ruin it for me. I definitely want to watch it. I love Voltron. I do love Voltron. That was my actual original. That was my gateway drug into like nerddom, was watching Voltron at like 3 years old. I remember playing with the little magnet. Anyway.
Yes. Have you seen Legendary Defender? The Netflix one.
I started it, but I haven't finished it.
It is so good. The finale is good. You can see for yourself, but like when you watch it, I'm like, this summon is fire. It is so good. It was like, when I was like, oh man, what is a spiritual successor to Avatar: The Last Airbender? The closest thing I could find is Voltron. The teamwork, the mechanics, the writing, it actually makes sense series to series. They're not making too many like weird parallels. Like, it makes sense. Finale is the finale.
Or trying to improve upon what the original creator did. You're not, if the original creator didn't figure out a way to make this better, take a back seat, like relax, or at least refer to them. Star Wars, Dave Filoni is not out here on his own writing all of Star Wars. He's going and talking to Big Daddy George Lucas. He's like, how would you do? And you also find out if you're good at what you're doing, because George Lucas is like, nah, give him the keys to the car, let him drive. No, he good, fam. He's good. This is where I wanted to go. And not only is it where I wanted to go, you get the cosign. This is better. than what I could have envisioned. Who could tell me nothing? You tell me that I'm better than you? Hey, no way.
Mhm.
You can't tell me anything. But you also have to be that humble person as well, which Mr. Filoni, 1,000. I love him. He's like
And
the
that's what,
best human being.
oh man. See, this is why I love when you write a great story, because a great story allows us to create super fans like you and like me of series. That's how you literally create a blurred for, and this is one of the reasons, Kara, honestly, why recently I've been talking more to entrepreneurs to let them know that you can make your own series. Like Pokemon is a business. It's not just books. It's not just like cute creatures. It's a business. So I think
Yes.
once Blerd see the business side and business people see the art side of it, and there's this coalescence of this is something that we can actually create. That's why I don't know. Have you ever heard of GaryVee before?
GaryVee?
Yeah.
His name sounds familiar, and I feel like there's a sad story attached to it somehow.
No, no, nothing sad. It's just this guy that likes to curse a lot and like he's motivational, but he's like very hard. But he's also really real. And the reason I mention that is that he's making, in my opinion, his own Pokemon, which is V Friends. So you have like Alert Ape, and Patient Penguin and different types of characters that are based on like emotions and inspiring people, but they're actually animals. And it relates to people. They've made comics already. They already have their own animated series. They have 2D. They're working on 3D. They have their own card games. They had a card game collaboration with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So it's like there's a very big space in fandom where you can insert your business, your principles, your brand awareness into it. So that, who knows, maybe they may have a crossover with X-Men. But I'm telling you, creators, kings and queens, entrepreneurs, like this is your time, all right? X-Men 97 is fire. And the people that are behind of it, I pray that they continue making more shows. And I pray that they just keep doing them, because that show is just, when you talk about something that's like, in my opinion, I called it an anime. Not just because of the fact that the animators or like Studio Mer's Korean, but like when you
It's
see it,
it's
it
the heart
feels,
too. It's the emotion
you
that
feel it.
I can't tell you how many people are like they stand up and they're like, what? Their hearts are racing. Not me. I'm like, I'm a little more like I watch it, but I can't tell you how many people are yelling at their TV screens are
Mhm.
crying. I cried. I cried a little bit.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
feel
it's
it.
real genuine emotion that you elicit from these people when you tell a great story. It can be rage. You can be absolute you can absolutely have that kind of energy. A story that's not a comedy, that is a pure drama, should be taking you through all of these ranges of emotions, from beginning to end, whether that's from the beginning of the episode to the end or the beginning of the series to the end. It's okay to dig deep into these things. It's okay to reach your highest of highs in trying to be funny and light with levity, but bring your audience down so that they appreciate the level that the character or the story was at before. It's okay to have range. Yes,
Telling you.
also get that money.
Exactly, you have to. When I saw the adversary come in for Storm, I'm like, yo, what is going on? Everything got dark. I was like, yo, this thing is getting terrifying. It was, and if you have your lights off and you watch it, it's a bit terrifying. It was crazy. When the thing was like, yes, yes, scream, scream. I'm like, ah, this is mad. This is mad, but it was so good. And at the point of like Avatar Aang said, at our lowest point, we're open to the greatest change. So it's
Mm,
like, that's real. That's
mm.
what we need more of. I mean, we literally actually covered the next question I was going to ask, which is going to be favorite animated TV shows and anime, unless you want to bring up something else.
My favorite animated TV shows and animes. Favorite, oof. I'm not, these are in no particular order, but just what comes to my mind. Attack on Titan, X-Men 97, um Bully, Jesus, animated TV shows, animation. Archer is a guilty pleasure. I will sit down and watch Archer whenever it comes on. Um, oh, there are other animated shows that I really like, and I can't think of what they are. Bad Batch is one of them. Clone Wars. Clone Wars is amazing. I'm like, I feel like I'm on. I can't think of Rick and Morty.
Mm.
It's gotten better recently. It's a little bit better. They fixed some things. Boy. Oh, Justice League.
Yes.
Ooh, baby. And now, by the way, I will poo-poo on DC as a whole any chance I get, except for DC animation. However,
Yes.
right now, the way things are going, we have a flip. I think what's going to start happening, especially with Jimmy Gunn at the helm of DC Studios. No, well, yeah, I guess it's DC Studios, kind of. I think we're going to have a flip. I think DC is going to dominate movies, and then Marvel is going to take over in the animation realm. I think we're going to see a flip, which I welcome wholeheartedly. It is I wish they would get them both together at the same time so that we all could eat. But whatever. whatever. Just give me the goods. Give me good story writing, and I'm happy. I'm happy either way.
Exactly. For me, favorite animated TV shows and anime, gotta start with like the classics. Samurai Jack. Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd n Eddy. Cow and Chicken, like old school '90s. Hey Arnold. Like those are the stuff that helped me growing up, man. Good times. And then as I got older, things like Symbiotic Titan, which was like the combination of Samurai Jack and like Dexter's Laboratory in one. What else is there? Can't forget X-Men 92. Because without 92, there's no 97. Like that was fire. Yes, you mentioned Justice League. Justice League was popping. It will always be popping. And that's what made me get into like seeing superheroes. Like Batman and Superman used to brawl. I even saw, who was it? Someone was talking about how when Lex Luthor slapped the question, give him a double backhand. I was like, that is that is
was
funny
wild.
and wild. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
So that is for like the animated TV shows and for animes. But One Piece, honestly, it's been off and on. There've been times I've been leaving and coming back, but One Piece overall, it has that staying power to it. I mean, 30 years, you still writing the same story and it's gotten better. I don't even know how you do that. I don't know how.
Filler.
One Piece has
That's
the
what I
least
call
amount of
filler.
filler of all animes, which is bizarre. You would think it would have more filler. When you look at let me not say all animes. When you look at One Piece compared to Naruto, compared to Bleach, One Piece is the least. What happens is that One Piece has so much that it covers because the storyline. This man, I don't think he sleeps because it's like the level of complexity in the story of how it's written. If you take out the aspects of like the disrespect sometimes with representation, story-wise, it's the reason why it's what carries like when we was mentioning earlier how give me good story and art and all of that, that is what makes a show great. But for One Piece, what carries it is the story. The art is not top tier compared to other animes, and that's all right. They have their style. It's gotten better, but the stories the people are there for.
What made me start watching One Piece was that first appearance of Gear 5 Luffy. I was like, oh, wait a minute, how did we get here? Okay, wait. All right, I'm gonna power through this, I guess. I still haven't finished. I'm, like I said, I'm not up. I don't think I'm at other 300s. But the animation they got going on right now is peak for them.
They got the animators from Dragon Ball Z, I think Goku versus Broly to work on it. That's why when you see it, it's so basically every episode of One Piece going forward almost feels like an anime episode or anime movie, like Dragon Ball Z, all the top tier stuff. But what happened is to get to that point, it takes time. Most people think that, and there's been people that come up to me and ask, and it's their opinion. They'll ask, like, can we make an anime? Let's make an anime together. People don't understand, like, one episode of One Piece is 90,000. One episode of Attack on Titan, 150,000. One episode of My Hero Academia, 150,000. One episode of Death Note, 1 million. So it's like
what?
People aren't putting into perspective like the amount of money that goes into animation, the people, the writing. Mark, there's so much that goes into it. You need your books first. I'm sure pretty much X-Men 97 may have been in the 5, maybe 6-figure range per episode, maybe, because it's very expensive to do these things, which is why things like One Piece look so silly and stuff in the beginning. Your funding has to match your animation. When you have the funding, you can go all out, but you need that build up though.
Yeah.
What else is favorite animes out there? I gotta put in World Trigger. World Trigger doesn't get its respect. It's just it just
World
doesn't.
Trigger?
Have you ever heard of World Trigger?
No. What's that?
Oh, it's like
I
chess
got homework.
meets. Oh, World Trigger is fire. I think that's the reason why the guy stopped it, because it's like it's so well done, but it doesn't get its props because of there's so many other bigger things. Basically, what World Trigger is, it's like you're into Star Wars, you'll enjoy it. There's
Yeah.
these things called neighbors. They're from another dimension. They come to Earth and they basically try and destroy and take over. And there's only this small organization that stops them with these things called triggers, which are like technology that they took from the neighbors. And the coolest thing is that it has what I've been trying to tell people to do for years, non-violent violence. So what that basically means is that when they fight, they get a trion body, which is like an energy body from the neighbors. Well, the energy is called trion. But if you cut someone's head or their arm or their foot off, they'll leak trion, but that's not their body. It's a body made of energy. So you can have people getting cut in half, arms cut, all these other stuff without it being actual death. And when their body can't handle it anymore, they get sent back to base. It's the Pokemon method in the aspect of it's fighting, it's crazy intense, but you're not getting hurt. But if your Trion body dies and you get hit, then you die. So this way they can have crazy action. The thing is like chess. Their strategy level is you just have to see. If you watch Attack on Titan, you see like how they Levi and stuff be fighting with the ODM gear. The level of complexity is like, yo, this is hard. But you have to see for yourself. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. It's very strategic. It's like chess with action.
I'll check it out. It sounds interesting. I'm curious to see how the body thing works, and then I'll probably fall into it too.
First episode might hook you. It was the first episode that got me. I was like, oh, are we going here? Oh, they don't take long in the anime. The manga recently has gone in some changes, I think, because of creator's health. But I think when he gets back to being 100%, the manga will pick up. But the anime is fire. Season 1, fire. See, and the reason why I mentioned this, Kira, why it's so crazy is that when I finally caught up, my best friend told me about it, D-Sean, he's like, yeah, man, World Trigger. Finally caught up, the show ended. So you don't have to worry about that because it's back on now. It's back. They're back to season 3. So you're good now. When I caught it back in the past, it's terrible. But yeah, World Trigger, fire. If you love strategy, story, aliens, science fiction, and, lightheartedness, it's good. You don't have to worry about no perversion or creepiness. Like, it's pretty mild like that. But like story-wise, so good.
I mean, if you heard some of the other animes that I'm watching, the perviness is, it. I expect it with anime now. I'm not ever really surprised. I'm surprised when it doesn't happen.
I'm happy when it
which is
doesn't.
a surprise. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. Oh, shout out to Kaiju number 8 and
Yes.
Windbreakers. Those are 2 new ones that I started to watch as well. And Samurai Champloo for the oldie and Cowboy Bebop. Those are my comfort animes, oddly enough.
It's another one. I might have it actually right here. I don't know if you've heard of this one before. See, if we're talking classics. School Rumble. Have you ever heard of this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, if you want a good comedy, this will make you laugh until you cry. I love School Rumble. My best friend told me about this, and he was like, "Oh, just watch School Rumble. It's romance, it's drama, it's comedy, it's high school. I got the whole box set back in the day from Funimation. Like that's how much I love it. Like I don't even know about Dragon Ball. It's the end of my One Piece. I'm into action, Kings and Queens, but if you're talking about a good old laugh, gotta check out School Rumble. School Rumble will make you laugh, laugh. It's funny, man.
School Rumble and World Trigger. Okay, I got them. I'll check them out.
Oh man. The next question I wanted to ask, you're talking about so many great topics.
I know.
Where do you see Room Full of Blerds going next?
I'm at a crossroads right now. In my path. My initial goal, and it's still kind of my goal, my initial goal is to have spaces that teach, kind of like what you're doing, that teach creators um how to build their brand, how to stay protected with what it is that they're creating, and how to expand and dominate, I guess is best word I can use, um with their creativity and their ideas that they're trying to bring to fruition. I kind of wanted to have like little spots nationally so people could physically go to these places. This is obviously post-COVID thought process. That was my initial goal. Now it's a little hmm, it's not diverted. I guess my secondary goal is to bring more people into the fold, which is why I started my comic book reading club, because whenever I would walk into my comic book store, I would be like, well, hell, where do I start? Where do I go? I've been out the game so long, coach. I don't know where to begin again. Um, so I've found I've been wanting to not experience that. So I want to create a space where people can come in to the podcast, to the room, to the page, whichever platform, and just ask questions. All right, well, what comic book do you think I should start reading? Well, how come we're at this point? Is it okay if I start here? Should I read this comic book? I mean, obviously I can't give you answers to everything. Everybody has their own opinion, but I can at least say start in this direction. Maybe you won't like this, but you'll find something next to it that you prefer. And give people a home. It's a little, it can be like we were talking, One Piece people can be weird, Star Wars people can be weird. I think that is starting to become more of an outlier thing. I don't think a lot of people are weird with their fandom. I think a lot of the weird people that are in the fandom are just loud.
Mm.
So it makes it seem like a fandom is toxic, but it's not ultimately. It's just the wrong people are talking too loud. And that's the type of space that I want to encourage to change. I want to be the space that's maybe even strategic
Mm.
about how we change the culture, or we change the perception of that part of the culture. That's what I really want. That's what I really want. Secondarily to the global takeover. That's what I want. I want people to feel welcome into this community, and protected too. Very much a
Exactly.
protection thing, which is why the whole Lady Mandalore pseudonym is a part of my character. I'll fight you.
But that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Because even Kev on stage, when he entered the anime community, he was like, I don't want to make anyone feel unwelcome, this, that, and the third. But he was like, my anime show I watch, he's looking for recommendations, and he's watching this and he's watching that. So it's like you want to make people feel welcome when they're part of a community, not like,
Yeah.
get the pitchforks and be like, get out of here. Like, no, 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 nobody
No,
likes that. And I feel
no.
that that is possible. You would need probably an event space, and probably like something to connect with the event space, so that when you're having your events, that's good. You can get monetized. But when you're not having the events, like rent out the space so that you
Yeah.
can make money on it consistently. And the last thing I want to ask before we go into the power quotes and other things are, how can people stay in touch with you?
Well, you can find me on these internets. I am at Room Full of Blerds on all of my socials. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram. I'm not really on the Shadowlands space known as Twitter, also known as X. I'm never going to call it that. It's Twitter till the day I die. You can also find me on an app called Fanbase that's owned by Isaac Hayes. Um, Twitch. I'm also on Twitch. I always forget. There's always one. There's so many. But you can also find me on Twitch. Um, Email me roomfullofblerds@gmail.com if you have any questions, thoughts, you want to collaborate on things or just talk. Yeah, that's me. That's it. You can find me on the regular places outside of here right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kira. And thank you for everyone else watching. We're just going to cover the next topic, which is power quotes of the day, and then a couple more, and then we'll be done. And the power quotes of today are: the Black person is the protagonist in most of my paintings. I realized that I didn't see many paintings of Black people in them. That's Jean-Michel Basquiat. And Afrofuturism reinvigorates the imagination. We imagine a past gleaming from historical text to push past conformity to linear time and narratives that cuts us off from our humanity. We imagine futures to push past socialized beliefs that infer we have no agency to create one. That's Yatasha Womack. What I love those two power quotes is that they let us know that it's okay to create stories that celebrate our culture, but it's also great to give us stories where we have agency, because it's not enough to have representation without you actually making decisions. We can't have another Yasuke anime. If you've ever seen that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's not cool. It's not. Anyway, you've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about.
I was on a date during COVID. It was weird. I was on a date during COVID and we were watching it and we both looked at each other like, nah, this ain't it. I don't even think we got 15 minutes into that movie, into the show, and we're like, nah, this is not what we signed up for, and turned it off and went outside.
I have this weird thing where if I start an anime, even if I hate it, I may try to get to the end just so I can have a reason why I'm never going back. I got to the end. It was terrible. Every
Yeah.
episode was bizarre. It was weird. But this is why we need more Black creators, because it was a Black guy that was behind it, the same guy that worked on Cannon Busters, which was always like almost like failure to launch. It was okay, this wasn't good. So it's like when we create our own, we don't have to worry about that, because even if it's a Black creator who's writing the story behind the scenes, who has the control and sway over what's really going on, we need to create our own kings and queens.
I will segue right into the other project that I'm attached to, which is BlerdStation. That's what we're trying to do. It's going to be a platform where you get to keep your intellectual property. We do not want to own anything that you have, but we want to provide a platform for you to be seen. If the creator wants to jump ship and go to some place like Netflix, absolutely, you can absolutely do that. However, they're going to take your stuff and they're going to do something to your child that you did not foresee them doing. Your character might be whitewashed. Your character might be urbanized. They might do something with a storyline, throw it out, and turn it into something that you had no intentions of ever becoming. So yeah, BlerdStation. I'm trying not to be a commercial right now, but BlerdStation has a lot of potential and positivity that that we have not seen, especially in the Black community, for a very, very long time. BlerdStation feels like a safe space that's coming to life, and I hope it officially gets off the ground. I think possibly next year, 100%. We're still building things and creating things and getting content together. Yeah, there's hope on the horizon. I say all that to say there's hope on the horizon for those types of dreams to come to fruition.
I love to hear it. And I understand this podcast. I don't have a problem with commercials. This is a business podcast. This is what we do. Because sometimes we have this weird perception we don't want to hear commercials. No, we don't want to hear commercials that aren't valuable to us. Because if you have an anime that's a commercial, like McDonald's had their anime commercial, which is literally an anime, I have no problem watching that. If you had an anime, like an animated series as a series of commercials, I would watch that. That's fire. We just don't want to hear about studies show. I don't want to care about that.
That type of stuff.
Like,
Yeah, no.
that stuff gets boring after a while. Like, we need something that's fire, not just heuristics. And the thing I was mentioning is that the BlerdStation, which you just mentioned, more power to you. Shout out them. Shout out creators that are actually making their own things, because we need to see stories that are created and actually celebrated and celebrating our culture. But one thing I would like to say before I go into the commercials for what we have Have you seen the One Piece live action?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I saw it. It wasn't terrible, but it's not terrible. It's not bad. I think it's fine. I think it definitely needs some work, but I'm not mad that I'm not questioning why I got a season 2. I think I'm hopeful that they'll do better with the actualization of stories.
Mm.
I think I had a little bit of an issue with that. I think the cohesiveness with some of the stories, or where they did some edits from the original stories, it's kind of wobbly. The legs are a little loosey goosey, if you will. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I
I
always
don't
ask
know
you
how to
that
make that
question.
sound better.
No,
It's
nothing's
really
wrong
not
with
a
that.
bad show.
That's your honest opinion. That's totally fine. I've been a One Piece fan most, if not all, my life, and to see they do a live action I didn't ask for, but it actually come out good and not terrible was a
Yeah.
shock. The
Yeah.
fact that they finally gave Usopp Swagg and took off that stupid nose. I'll be honest with you. If we're talking about Blerd, talking about representation, Usopp not being a loser and not being like whack was very strange, but very good. Like he was not really that afraid. He was more like, I'm trying to live and
Yeah.
I'm kind of cool. Like when he was in the bar, he's like, hey, like when he was partying, I was like, all right, I
All
see
right.
you. And he got an actor that's Jamaican to play Usopp. I'm like, okay. And he's got melanin to him. He don't sound like a fool. I was like, and he took off them stupid eyelashes off of him. That was one of the things that really sold it for me. Like, you know, like you actually got characters that are mocked to actually be done right.
Yeah.
That is very rare for a live action. So I pray that when we create our own stories, we can learn from things like what they did with One Piece, but also what they did with X-Men 97. Take
Yeah.
pre-existing franchises, taking our own intellectual properties, and doing them justice. We can't have
Yeah.
another Yasuke. We can't have another one of those.
Yeah.
Next up, upcoming events and more. Our free course, Self-Publishing Jumpstart, begins today on YouTube. Get all the keys you need to start your first book. Just click the link below and watch now. And the reason why I created that is that I'm a self-publishing coach. I do self-publishing goldmine, and we help creators go from idea to their first book in 90 days. Now, what I've noticed is that sometimes people have questions, they have concerns, they want to know what it takes to make a book, and they just want to get started. You want to just get your feet wet and take a couple steps into it. We're going to be doing this for I'll let you know when it ends, but we're just going to put out more and more content. The first one is on patience. You can check that out. And we're going to be going over questions, answering specific questions to help you go from that idea to what you need to get started. And when you're done, you want to go to the next level. We've got the webinars we're working on coming soon. We've got, lead magnets, all these great things that are going to benefit you, as well as our coaching program, and as well as the books that we have, specifically. Hold that right there. Yeah, 7 steps to creating a dream manga series. So check out all of that and more. We've also got new BOLDSAGA coloring books in stock. Finally, thank God, they're finally here. So let me pull them out real quickly. Books on Issei and Elsa, actually learning how to speak Issei and Elsa. So it's like, you don't just have to be like, what are they saying? Indingu, Molo, Molweni, and we actually are covering that because it's one thing to say you have African representation. It's another thing to actually showcase it. Like in the back of the book, we see Ngubani Gamalako, Indingu, like you're actually seeing how to pronounce it. You're actually seeing what these words actually mean. We've got a BOLDSAGA coloring book right now. So you can see like the different characters. You can see Shani, you can see the village. These are great because coloring is great for your social emotional learning for kids, as well as a way to de-stress as an adult. We've got Shani's flowers literally here, so you can see all these beautiful illustrations and get to actually color some of our favorite characters, and well, actually some of your favorite characters in the story, because people love Shani. I don't. She's not even the main character, but I'm not gonna be mad at it because it's Black representation and the Black Queen winning. I'm praying Masego gets up there. I'm praying. He's coming though. And then this last one is Amazing Adinkra coloring book. We're actually showing you like what these different Adinkras mean and how to pronounce them, like Jin Yami and Kintin Kantan. As you can see, it's not my name, it's not my native language, but I will go the distance to help kings and queens understand how to actually pronounce words from our culture, these Bantu languages, the actual culture, because it's not enough to just say we have Black characters in a Japanese setting, Yasuke's and all the other stuff. It's more about having Black characters in a world that doesn't have to revolve around slavery or Black trauma, but actually seeing the guara guara, actually seeing, actual Caribbean food, from the Caribbean. I'm Antiguan, so they'd be like, Wagwan boss. Like, you can actually see, like, languages, culture, food. Like, we're so dope worldwide that we need to just celebrate that. We don't really need to add in a samurai sword or add in, another person's culture to make us better. We're already awesome. You can check out all of our books and more at sword.greatgale.com. We put the link down below for you. You can get your new faves. Afterpay is available along with e-gift cards, plus free shipping is available on orders over $100. So shop today. And more amazing events are on the horizon. Stay tuned and stay up to date with all these things, Bold Saga and more, when you follow us at Great Gale Co. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Clubhouse, Fanbase, and We Kinfolk. And thank you again for listening. Remember, Kings and Queens, being a blerd is awesome. It is awesome. It's not the stigma, not the nerds and all the stuff from the past that they're trying to say. Being a blerd is awesome. Be your most authentic self and seize greatness. This is your time. This is your season. It's time to elevate.